Hello, it's Jimmy here at O'Reilly's. Got here to look at a Renault Trafic. Now this has been to a couple of garages. One garage has done 4 forced regenerations and the problem came back shortly after I drove away. And the customer's had a look at my video. He's brought it to another guy who's a different mechanic and he had him clean out the upstream pressure sensor, he said, and put a new DPF pressure sensor on it on another visit. But again, shortly afterwards the light comes back up saying the DPF's blocked. So right, we're going to get inside and see what's going on. Okay, on the dashboard you get engine failure, hazard, spanner light and a engine management light on there. I'm going to use this Kingbolen K7 and I will put the link to this tool in the video description here, where you can buy it, and if you buy anything from my link I'll get a little percentage from it, and that helps me pay for my time on making these videos. So we're going to scan this now and see what faults we have. Pretty sure we're going to have a blocked DPF one, but maybe another fault that would be causing the DPF to block up, like glow plugs, EGR valve, etc., or the upstream temperature, upstream pressure sensor. On these is very common issues. Now, like I said, he said he's had those done, but I can't believe what another mechanic has done. I've got to check it myself. So we're going to do an automatic search. Press yes. Do a scan. Trafic 3, yes, and a full health report. Okay, so we're just about done. There we go. Backlight number plates and particle filter clogged and particle filter outside tolerances. So it's a DTC200291-92. Let's go inside. So it might be, this looks like it might have a damaged DPF, to be honest. So I think that's what's going on here. If we've got a 2002 and it's already had 4 regens, but it had 4 regens before they found the problem with the upstream pressure sensor, so that's why the DPF would have continued to get blocked again. But if they've done 4 regens, chances are now is that they've probably damaged the DPF, to be honest. Let's have a look at the DPF pressure. 27 HPAs or millibars. Let's hold it up at 3000 RPM ish. It's really difficult to get these vans to hold the revs where you want them to be. So basically around 120 millibars. It's really hard to get it to stay where you want it. Again, 28, 29 millibars of pressure at idle. So it's not too high on revs. We're looking to have it around about 60 millibars. And we would look to have this at round about 5 millibars at idle. So it's off. It's off a bit. It's definitely blocked. But the problem is can we clean it or not? Unfortunately, there is no way for me to 100% tell without trying. But from the story I've been told and from what I'm looking at here, we probably have a damaged DPF. And how I'm going to find that out is if I clean the DPF and this pressure continues to stay high. So basically if I clean that and we come down from 29 or 30 down to 18 millibars or 15 millibars, even 12 millibars, you know that the DPF has some damage to it. As long as we get it under 10 millibars, say 5 to 8 millibars, then it should be okay. Now let's have a look at the pressure upstream of the turbo. Start the engine. See if that goes up and down with the revs accordingly. Yes, so we have movement, even though it's a little bit high, I think, there at 1300 millibars. Okay, so just having a look at this upstream pressure sensor, you can see that that is brand new, and this pipe, I'm going to just make sure that that's not blocked. And what I'm going to do is, just because it's the easiest point, I can either go in here or in here with some DPF cleaner, but I like to clean it through here because that also cleans the pipe. But yeah, not so long ago he's changed this complete pipe, this sensor, the DPF pressure sensor, which is right down the back there, very difficult to reach that. So yeah, we'll get some cleaner down either here or here. I'm just going to make sure that they're not blocked again anyway. Now you can check that with a pressure gauge here, which is a Mitivac brand, so that's not blocked. Okay, now that where I've removed that sensor, I've connected up this pressurized gun here, And inside that gun we have this cleaning fluid here from Launch UK. That's connected to a compressor there at 130 psi. So we're going to squeeze the trigger now and get fluid pushed in there. Okay, got about half of this bottle in the DPF now, so we're going to stop there. So the DPF sits quite high on these, I don't want to fill it too much and backfill it into the cylinders. So we'll give it a few minutes to rest and then we'll get inside and start the vehicle up. So while we're waiting for that, we'll have a look at the soot grams in the filter, which is 62 grams, and it does say that after regeneration it went down to 0, so maybe we have got hope, we'll find out. Okay, now we've got the engine started and we're going to press and hold, get the rest of the fluid pushed in the engine with the engine running. Now we're going to get back inside, again try and hold the revs at 3000 RPM if we can. These vans, they love creeping, the revs just love creeping up. Okay, so here's a little trick I'm going to do now. While the DPF pressure is still high at idle, I'm going to switch off the ignition. Sorry, I hope you could see that. I'm having a bad time with sun glare on the screen here, so I'm going to go now to special function. Even though the pressure is still a little bit high, right? I'm going to go to particle filter adaptives after replacing it. So this is going to reset the DPF, and what I want to achieve by doing this is by clearing the DPF, clearing the fault codes. I'm going to take the van on a test drive, and because the pressure is high, within a mile or so of me driving the van down the road, we should see the van try to do its own regeneration, and that's what I want to see is working. Is the van capable of doing a force regen on its own? Now if I hold the revs and I get the pressure all the way down, I'm not going to see if the van's able to do its own regen. Even though it should be able to, there is no fault codes that are stopping it from doing it apart from the block DPF. Now, a number of things that the last guys could have done wrong is they could have regened the DPF or tried to clean the DPF and just cleared the fault codes and not reset the adaptives of the DPF. Okay, now we're going to clear the fault memory. Okay, now I'm going to watch the temperature of the particle filter, and I want to see if that temperature goes up. If it does a regen, it'll go over 600 degrees. Give it a few revs. Get like a vapor coming out from the cleaning fluid. Okay, so what was happening before, like I said, was they cleared the fault codes, but within 5 or 10 miles or so, or whatever it was he said, you drive down the road and the light would come back on. So let's see if that happens again right now. We're going to wait, see if we get these temperatures up to 600 degrees like I said, so I'm going to keep an eye on those while I'm driving. See there rapidly that the temperature is increasing up. Okay, so yeah, that reached 620 degrees. Now we're just waiting for it to cool down again. Okay, now the temperature has come down. We will come back from that. Now we'll look at the particle filter differential pressure. Now, like I thought, it is very, very close to the maximum limit. So we got 10 or 11 millibars there. So that's at the max where you'd want to see your DPF pressure at idle there. So I think there is some damage to the DPF. Whether or not it's going to last, any long. It's probably gonna come back. Let's hold the revs up a little bit. 3000 RPM again. Saying that when we hold the revs up now, 3000, we've only got sort of 40 millibars of pressure, so on revs the pressure is good, but at idle we got it a slightly high. I'm going to see if we can do adaptives on the pressure sensor, because I know that was changed already, and obviously I don't know if these guys have done the right procedures. Now if you've cleaned the DPF and you like I said, you haven't reset the particle values, the fault will come back pretty shortly afterwards. So just going to see if we have the option for the differential pressure sensor adaptives for the filter regeneration. No, don't look like we have it on here. I could try a different tool. So one more thing we do there is confirm after the drive we haven't got any fault codes. Okay, so if we look in the soot grams of the particle filter, I can see that they are increasing very quickly. So the DPF is just not happy with the pressure. So I can see the soot there is continuing to increase. Okay, so I'm going to try a different brand tool here. This is the Autofix D1. See if we have any hot functions here for the pressure sensor. Let's go in here. See if we've got more options than just the DPF. Okay, let's have a look. Filter differential pressure sensor, there it is. It's the handy thing about having a couple of different brand tools. Some just work better than others with certain brands. What I probably could have done with that is change it over to a Vauxhall Vivaro. Maybe that would have worked. Differential pressure sensor, there we go. Engine off, press OK. Finished. Okay, we'll exit. Now we're going to go back in the data stream. Okay, got these items up at the top of the list. Start the engine back up again. So we've still got 11 HPA of pressure. Oh well, there you go, it's coming down now to 8, 7. Well, if it stays around there, then it looks like we are in for some success. Let's hold the revs up again. Let's see if the soot grams are still increasing, or will they now come down? Pressure is low, but the soot grams are raising. Okay, we've just been on another drive and the soot grams have come down. Alright, so after a drive it's come down to 4.7 grams, but the pressure again has come back up to 11 HPA. So I think the DPF is a little bit just out of range where it needs to be for good DPF pressure basically, but it looks like it's going to need a new DPF, this vehicle. Now I know you can say the soot grams have come down, but that's because obviously when I've done another test drive again, it's done another regen. So in the space of an hour this vehicle has done two self regenerations on the DPF, and so it's regenerating way too often. And that is because the pressure is so close to where it should be, so it's not considering it's a block DPF. but it's considering that it needs cleaning, and then obviously it's going to keep trying to clean that over and over and over and over, and until it keeps realizing that it's not dropping below 10 millibars of pressure. The soot grams are just going to keep increasing and doing that repeatedly until it gives up. If we come back here, I'll show you one extra thing about the tool. Oh, not erase codes, go back. We don't have any codes to erase. If we come back to, not that special function, and where was it? In the hot functions, you remember I said the differential pressure sensor was missing from the Kingbolen on this one. I did notice after we didn't have the option for a DPF reset on this. We've got the one for the pressure sensor, but not the replacement of the DPF. So we've got pressure sensor, then all of this is AdBlue. Can't see no DPF reset. Sulfur oxide, is that for is that a DPF reset? Is that a different wording for it? I'm not even sure what that is. So sulfur oxide 1 didn't work. Let's see if that one does the same. Yep, test aborted, out of range, so it's not working. No DPF reset option on this tool. Again, that's why you need two tools. Okay, so we have no fault codes left in the vehicle, but of course I can't say for sure if this engine management light is going to come back on, because we have a little bit of an issue there with the soot grams creeping up. And if you go through here, we can see the ambient temperature sensors working. AdBlue is at 75%. 57,000 miles on this. It's a 19 plate. Okay, we'll finish up here on this Renault Trafic. So like I said, it's sitting at 11 millibars of pressure, maybe 10. So it's at the borderline of the DPF pressure, and unfortunately that's the best I can do on it. So if you can save them, you can, but if you can't, you can't. We'll put this video up just so it shows people why these sort of problems are happening now. That's what some of the garages would said. They didn't have a clue why it's happening, even though I'm not fixing the problem here. At least I'm telling the guy what's wrong, and he's not wasting any more money, and he knows what he needs to do from here, which is, if he wants to go and do it down that route, he needs to change the DPF. And on this vehicle it is in a very, very difficult place to reach, so I'm going to let it go into a garage for that if it needs to. He's going to drive it and see how it goes. Obviously if the light comes back on, he'll get his DPF changed. See you on the next video.